Broads Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. It was a good weekend. Can't be mad taking 2 out of 3. That's the name of the game, fellas. Would I have loved to see a sweep? Of course I would have loved to see a sweep. It's okay, though. First series. First time through the rotation. Getting some real action under your belt. Offense went quiet this afternoon. Sucks. You had plenty of opportunities. Bryson Stott a few early. Marchand grounding out into a double play. Marchand in the 9th. First pitch swinging. Bohmer grounding out into a double play in the 7th. So they had plenty of at-bats where they could have absolutely done some serious damage. They just weren't efficient. They just didn't get the timely hits, whereas they sure did game 1 on Thursday. Alec Bohm in extras. Kyle and Bryce in the middle of the action to take a 2-1 lead. So, unfortunately, on Sunday, just wasn't their day. Nola's allowed a couple of bombs. We'll get into Aaron Nola. I just got back from the studio, and I was hosting Final Out, and then I had a couple-hour show until 7 o'clock I was on, and I was getting into some heated debates with people who hate Aaron Nola with a burning passion, saying he sucks. It's year 10 of this guy. If you're still having conflicts internally on who Aaron Nola is and what he should be, that sounds like a personal problem. This guy has been in the league for 10 years now. 10 years! He's got a 3.70 ERA. Over 10 years! He allows home runs. And a lot of them. But if you allow a lot of home runs, and over 10 years, you have a 3.70 ERA, you're a damn good pitcher. You have flaws. You're not perfect. You're not Zach Wheeler. Let's stop acting like this guy's a stiff, though, because Josh Bell took him deep. Because Nathaniel Lowe had a 2-run blast a couple innings after. Yeah, he allows a lot of homers. He also is filthy on a lot of days, too. Like, fucking filthy. Not against the Mets, excuse me. But a few years before that. Nope, the year before that. Not a few years. The few years before that, he hit a wall in the World Series. Yes. Once he got to the World Series, his body wasn't used to pitching in November. It was his first time getting a real crack at it, and he broke down after eating 200 innings. Ranger Suarez can't even get through spring training without hitting a wall. This guy can't even eat 100 innings. You know, I'm supposed to get angry at Aaron Nola because 2 years ago, something happened in the playoffs. I guess that was 3 years ago now, where once he got to the NLCS and once he got to the World Series, he hit a wall. Same with Zach Wheeler, by the way, who we all agree is phenomenal and one of the best to ever do it and such an elite pitcher in today's age. He ended up hitting a wall, too. Justin Verlander, in that same World Series run, got his first World Series win ever as a starter. Yeah, the same guy that is a no-brainer lock to make the Hall of Fame got his first ever win in a World Series. Yet I'm supposed to diminish Aaron Nola's ability because of his body never, ever experiencing that before and then having to deal with it, realizing, wow, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body in one season. You got to learn what that's like before you're able to actually execute. And then the following season, the 23 campaign, where unfortunately they did lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks, my man in 4 starts had a 2.3 ERA. 2.35, I believe, off the top of my head, ERA. 2.35 ERA in the postseason over 4 starts. I'm supposed to be mad at that? I mean, people act like this guy's a stiff. You can be aggravated. You can be frustrated with Aaron Nola. These debates that are already happening after week 1 is just pathetic, in my personal opinion. It's been 10 years of Aaron Nola. I mean, come on. Get your head out of your ass and realize that you should already know what he is. He's a damn good pitcher, and right now he's slotted in as your 3. Hey, I hate to break it to you. Everybody and their mother in Major League Baseball would sign up for Aaron Nola as their number 3. with Luzardo slotted in at 2 after that 11 strikeout performance, and he settled in after allowing the homer. By the way, Zach Wheeler allowed a homer to this same Nationals lineup. Luzardo allowed a homer to this same Nationals lineup. And then, yes, Aaron Nola allowed 2. But he's also going to give you a night where he shoves for 7 and allows 0 earned runs. I don't know. I think it's criminal how aggressive it is with him. Someone brought up that it's almost like Jalen Hurts. It's just everything is so picked apart to the nth degree that there's really no way for this guy to win or this guy to survive. There was a Phillies fan who called in who said he legitimately hates him. Big Phillies fan, diehard Phillies fan, loves the Phillies. He legitimately hates to his core Aaron Nola. Hates him. And I'm like, whoa, dude, that sounds like a serious psychological issue. Again, you may have questions about Aaron Nola. You may talk about sometimes when it rains, it pours with Aaron Nola out there and he struggles to stop the bleeding sometimes. But if you're getting to the point where you see his face and you actually start biting your fingers as they roll into a fist because you can't stop your body from shaking because you despise the human that bad, whoa, you're weird. I mean, you're just a weird sicko. But anyway, I don't want to make this too much about Nola, but I do think that is the biggest takeaway of the weekend. Because outside of that, you know, you saw Kyle Schwarber hit a nuke on Saturday that blew the game wide open. You saw Brandon Marsh respond very well to all the criticism on Saturday. Same with Stott. The problem is Stott on Sunday had another offer, while Brandon Marsh actually had 2 walks and a single, and Rob Thompson rewarded his greatness on Saturday with plugging him back in on Sunday and sat Kepler so Rojas can get into the action. It was supposed to be Brandon Marsh sitting down so Rojas could get some love, but instead he rewarded him and said, you get another chance to go out there and play. And to Brandon Marsh's credit, he was strong. The problem is, I thought at one point last season, Brandon Marsh looked phenomenal, looked like a guy who could hit lefties and looked like an everyday player. And then eventually reality settled in and he just wasn't that great. So is this for real? Is this serious? Is this actually Brandon Marsh long-term? Or is this a common trend where he starts off the season looking really good and then at some point, whether it's just, hey, he's not as good as he's starting, or people figure something out about him, or it's just the natural flow of this whole thing, I don't know. But I need to see significantly more from Marsh, but it's a good start for him. You know, him and Stott, I thought on Saturday, remarkable. They both answered the bell insanely from what transpired on opening day. It's just really about consistency at this point. Same applies with Bohm. I saw a couple at-bats in the final game where they lost 5-1 that reminded me of the same Alec Bohm that got benched in the NLDS against the Mets, right? Very lackadaisical approach at the plate, very ridiculous, brutal, disgusting, sloppy little dinky hit in the infield and not really going to the plate with the true plan and just being, hey, I'm going to just swing early and I'm going to flub one to the left side of the infield in a very high-pressured situation. Yo, dude, how many pitches did you see in this game? 5? 6 pitches? What are we doing? Where's the approach? Where's the urgency to put together strong at-bats? Now, to his credit, he probably could have had a home run if it wasn't for being unlucky, I guess, right? Because one of his first at-bats on Sunday, the ball carried all the way out there, and I thought it had a chance to go. It was good exit velocity. It was a good swing. It was a good rope, and he definitely put a lot behind it. It just didn't go over the wall. So he did have a strong at-bat, and if that one carried just a tad bit longer, then maybe we look at this performance as a totally different one. But the truth is it didn't go over the wall, and the ground out into the double play happened in the 7th inning, and then you got guys like Marchand almost following up what Bohm did. So is that Kevin Long allowing guys like Bohm and Marchand to do this? And if that's the case, isn't that a problem considering that's what needs to change? Now, they were down 5-0 in the ninth when Marchand got swing happy and got after it very early in the count. So I don't know how much of a chance they truly had to win that game anyway. It was desperation mode and you were looking for some version of a miracle. But with this type of firepower, knowing Marchand is batting at the bottom of the lineup, and then you got your top dogs right at the top following him afterwards, who knows, right? Kyle, Bryce, Bohm. These are some powerful names that with the blink of an eye could send one to a totally different planet. So I can't rule anything out. Who allowed for that to happen? Guys like Marchand should never have the freedom to have that piss poor of an at-bat in the ninth inning where you can try and grab some sort of momentum to see if you can steal a victory and get a sweep. You know what I mean? So that goes back to coaching, to lack of discipline from the staff, probably. And if not, and this wasn't part of their game plan as a hitting coach, as Kevin Long likes to look at it, then there's a problem that there's not that communication happening prior to such results. And the only reason why that's important now is because it was a very common theme to what we saw in the playoffs, which to me is a lack of an approach by Kevin Long. You just keep running it back with that. Well, that's a problem. Alec Bohm got benched for that. Just something on my radar. Just like the Trea Turner things on my radar. Not in the lineup the last couple of games due to back stiffness. More on him in just 1 second. I love my lawn. I love my lawn. I need my lawn to look gorgeous. And Green Lawn Fertilizing is helping me get there. I did not take care of my lawn. I did not pay attention to it. I did not do anything right when I first bought my home. And luckily for me, I was able to sit down with Green Lawn Fertilizing and they were able to show me and educate me on how to make my lawn look as luscious as humanly possible. Green Lawn Fertilizing is based in the Philadelphia area and they are the best in the market. They're experts in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and they're extremely knowledgeable. They've created their own custom blend that will help your lawn recover. And the first round is super important to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season. So you have to start now. I just got my first set of treatments done, and I am continuing to work with Green Lawn Fertilizing. So as they continue to treat my lawn, I can see everything work out in front of my eyes, and it's putting a monster smile on my face. Green Lawn Fertilizing is offering 2 free treatments and 10% off for all of you out there. So what you need to do is check out the link down below in the description, which will take you right to their website through me. So it'll say, hey, Broad sent me. I'm signing up through Broads. Make sure you check it out now and get your lawn looking as pretty as possible. Right now's the time because there are a couple different treatments that have to go down to get your lawn to recover. And you don't want to have your kids running around with some dirty ass lawn. I'm telling you, I'm taking pride as a father. I'm taking pride in this lawn. So they can tell everybody, you should see my father's lawn. It's going to kick your father's lawn's ass. And I can't wait to walk around with my chest out saying, you're damn right. You're damn right. And it's not me. It's all Green Lawn Fertilizing. Make sure you get started today. All right. So let's get to the Trea stuff. Here's where I'm worried about Trea. Same thing that applies to Ranger Suarez. The back. He's got some back stiffness, some back tightness, and, you know, they're not saying it's anything crazy. Hopefully he's back in the next couple of days. Do back problems go away, though? He said he was dealing with some of this in spring, and then he realized it was getting tight throughout, you know, the first time he was getting in the box, the regular season, opening day. Well, will that stop? And knowing there's so much pressure on Trea Turner as it is, he probably needs to be at 100% to maximize Trea Turner the best way we can to try and get what we need out of Trea. What we need out of Trea is an excellent version of Trea. Can he do that at 75% with the pressure? with the noise, with all the crosshairs on him to be a stud, the focus, all the energy, all the binoculars, it's glued right on Trea Turner's face to be a stud this year. And now he's already working behind the 8 ball because he's not physically at 100%. Does he have the luxury of being able to work through that physical pain and the mental side of this fan base to get to a good version of Trea? I don't know. There's two things here. Maybe the answer is yes to what I just laid out, or the back's not going to be a problem. I just know more times than not, back problems linger, especially when you're swinging a baseball bat at full speed. He doesn't swing as aggressively and as harsh as maybe a Bryce Harper, but he's also not the same stature that Bryce Harper is. It's a different body frame. I don't think he's as built as Bryce is. So maybe because he doesn't swing as hard isn't really a positive, because his body is, I don't know if fragile is the right word, but Bryce is a monster. And some guys are just not really someone that you can relate to because they are out of body experience type of people. Bryce tends to fall in that category in my eyes. So what do you do with this information? I'm not necessarily sure. I just know that it definitely scares me for the long run of Trea. And if they want to try to establish him as some leadoff guy, especially whenever there are lefties on the bump, they love Kyle leadoff. I'm telling you right now, they love Kyle leadoff. And it's hard not to. I've been a big believer in, I love Kyle, but it's time to just try something new with Trea. Well, if Trea's already bouncing in and out of the lineup a little bit, and then I see Kyle do what Kyle does, and Kyle mashes, and he gets all these ABs, and the dude is just a pro bat that you can lock in, 35 to 45 bombs with all these RBI. He works walks. He has a good OBP, especially last year. He's going to continue to build off that. I mean, the guy's just a machine. How do you not give him the most at-bats on the team? They're going to do it. And watching him over the last couple of days, I go, damn it. I'm falling back in love with Kyle Schwarber doing it. Yep. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks thinking it's time to try something new. It's try to get new life in here. It's try to get a new personality as a lineup. Then I watch Kyle Schwarber lead off and I go, oh yeah, that's fucking right. That's why I love it so much. That's why I'm so obsessed with it. That's why this is beautiful. That's why I defended it forever. That's why. And now I'm starting to think, yeah, knowing the way Rob Thompson operates, I would not be shocked whatsoever if they really put their feet down in this and they get stuck in the mud with it. But that probably isn't a bad thing because Kyle is going to be better than Trea Turner is at the end of the day. So it's been 3 games and I've already convinced myself, you know what? Kyle Schwarber is the greatest leadoff hitter to ever exist. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking of injuries, what else happened? Edmundo Sosa took that spike. He was okay, though. Took the spike. And there was one that was escaping me. That's why I had a weird, awkward silence there. Oh, JT. They got x-rays. It was negative, but he's got a bruised foot. But I think he should be ready to rock for the home opener. But yeah, so you saw Marchand in there. And the Sosa thing, like he contributed over the last couple of games. So maybe that's why the Trea... I don't know why the Trea injury thing didn't pop as much as I thought it would. 1, it was the weekend. So maybe just because it's the weekend. 2, it's early in the season. 3, people hate him. People just don't like him because he hasn't really lived up to the expectations. 4... they don't have a high bar for him anyway. Edmundo had a couple of hits over the last couple of games. I don't know. Or maybe they just assume it's a minor injury. And it's way too early to panic, even if it is a back. I don't know. I didn't really think that I would be as interested in the Trea Turner injury front as I am. I know that sounds crazy, but again, you think, all right, he'll be back in the next couple of games, and then we move on from there, and he had a bad first game, but there's plenty of time for him to find his rhythm, and that's sort of the laissez-faire attitude about it, and I thought I'd probably be closer to that, but if I'm going to be scared about Rangers back, that's been lingering for years now, how am I not going to be concerned about Trea? And knowing I need a great version of Trea, it's just something that is stuck in the back of my mind that I cannot stop thinking about. Other than that, where else are we? Wheeler was good. We kind of talked about that in the episode after opening day. Luzardo was really good, man. Luzardo was really, really good. It took him a bit to settle in. He obviously allowed the jack, but once he settled in, 11 Ks is as strong as you can get, especially in 5 innings of work. Luzardo was really, really smooth, and that was a very enjoyable watch. He's no joke. He is no joke. Trying to think. There was something else. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Overall, before we get to a couple of phone calls here, I'm proud of this team. This was a good start to the season. They did not let us down. They did not drop the first series on the road, right? If they came back to Philadelphia 1-2 and Luzardo got beat up and Aaron Nola got beat up even worse, it's not as if Aaron Nola had something to work with offensively. This was essentially a shutout until the 9th inning. All right, so I'm not telling you that allowing 2 home runs and 5 earned runs in his body of work was something that was fantastic there, Knowles, but you didn't score a damn run until the 9th inning on a ground out by Marchand on a god-awful at-bat. That was the only run production you had all day. So you didn't really have the complementary baseball, right? We talk about that all the time in football. Your offense, your defense, your special teams, it's one big unit at the end of the day. You didn't really have that at all. So you score 11 runs on Saturday. If Aaron Nola allowed 5, you win that baseball game. You win that baseball game, even allowing 2 home runs, 5 runs, score 11 runs, you win the game. You win the game. You win the game if you allowed 5 runs with the 7 in the first game, although it got to extra innings. But you scored 7 runs. You would have won the game. They didn't have any offensive production. Their offense went to sleep. And they sure as hell could have done something where even if the Nats took the lead, or even if you took the lead early enough, you were getting to the Nats bullpen all series. So even if you have them shaking in their boots, if you're down, I'm just making up a scenario. If you're down 3-0, you crack into the lead, you just get 1 run. Or you crack in the lead, you get 2 runs. Now it's 3-2. You still may be down with a few innings to go, but knowing your offense is as a firepower unit as you can get in this league, right? Like they're lethal as hell. Knowing that they're always scary and they can always have a big bomb that can set the world on fire. You never know, and you already gotten to them all series long. It just has them worried. It has them scared. It has them unsettled. They could feel the momentum changing, but you never got that timely hit, and there were so many times for that to happen. Even when it was 0-0, Bryson Stott could have done it. Maybe Marchand could have done it in the early stages of the game. Bohm definitely could have done it. They could have done it. Bases loaded, grounded out into a double play. You just didn't have that production offensively either. So the last thing I'm doing is say, hey, Nola, you suck. You didn't pitch a shutout. You could have pitched a shutout, and at some point, you needed a damn run. Well, you wanted him to go 9 scoreless and then ask Marchand? Would have been 8 scoreless, right? And then top of the 9th, Marchand gets your ground out. Then he closes the game out with a complete game shutty. Is that how it would have had to go down? I can't forget that element. But I am proud of this team from a full body of work standpoint. It was a good series. It was a good way to start the year. Good mojo in my eyes coming back to Philadelphia for this first game of the home opener. Now, some may feel differently because the Nola thing left a sour taste in everybody's mouth, the here we go again thing, although I don't think it's a here we go again bad thing. I think it's a, all right, here we go again, baby. I'm going to get a phenomenal Aaron Nola this season. He's going to have 200, I looked through his stats, 210, 218, 199, 198, around that range, nonstop, 201, 202, innings pitched. All the strikeouts, a 3.54 ERA, a 3.24 ERA, a 3.45 ERA, pitching 200. Ranger Suarez can't get out of spring training. I'm mad at Aaron Nola for giving me a 3.50 ERA. Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't understand. I also don't understand this Yankees thing either, by the way. Let me rant on this real quick, please. The whole bat situation in New York, where they're moving where the sweet spot is on the bat because guys like Volpe are getting jammed. Listen, this might be the most get off my lawn thing you ever hear, and so be it. I'm almost 30. I guess it's my time to start bitching and complaining about how sports change. Here's the truth. If Volpe and Jazz Chisholm are getting jammed and they feel they have to move the sweet spot, now I don't blame the Yankees. You look for loopholes, you look for advantages, you look at the rule book, you try your very best. I'm pissed at Major League Baseball for allowing this. If you're getting jammed, you suck. That's like a three-point shooter not being able to hit three-point shots. You suck. If you can't hit the three, you're not good. If you're getting jammed, you can't barrel up the baseball. The point and the job of being a hitter is to be effective with your timing and to barrel up the ball with the sweet spot of the bat. You move the sweet spot of the bat to where you're getting jammed. You suck at the sport. You're not good. And if this turns into Volpe hitting 30 homers or Jazz Chisholm being a 30 home run guy, that is embarrassing. That's fucking stupid if you're being honest. I mean, it's dumb. That's like saying, I can't dunk. Can we lower the rim? I can't dunk. We got to lower the rim because I can't dunk. So then in the NBA game, sometimes it's the standard, and then sometimes it's 3 feet lower so someone can dunk because they can't. That's the sport. The sport is being able to barrel up the ball with the bat having the barrel where it should be. Now, there's probably going to be adjustments made at some point where if you're a pitcher and you know the pop of the bat is in the hands of Volpe, maybe they can use the middle of the plate more. Because if he's swinging in the middle of the plate and he's waiting to be jammed, then there's no pop in the bat in the middle of the zone. And then, they just counter by using the strike zone differently once there's more knowledge. And more teams are going to use this without a doubt. But here's the thing. There are going to be guys like Judge, like Schwarber, who don't need it because they already know how to barrel up the ball because they're good at their jobs. So their home run totals are going to stay the same. The league probably is excited about it because it brings more offense to the game. I listened to Trevor Plouffe, who put out his Talking Baseball little video on Twitter. He says it's good for the game because of the pitching being so advanced and the way pitchers are so nasty these days. It's only time for the hitters, and it's due for the hitters to have some version of growth in the equipment department. But there's like the section of baseball fandom with the, I guess I'd call it the younger generation-ish who are all in on this. Like, woohoo, this is great for the game. I think it's the most embarrassing thing ever. I think it is literally the most pathetic thing. If we're making Volpe a 30 home run guy, now, he's got 2 home runs this year, but I'm just saying, if this trajectory turns Volpe because he's getting jammed and can't effectively hit a baseball with a normal bat into a 30 home run guy, then we got a problem here. Volpe should never be a 30 home run guy. Never. Never in the history of baseball should that be a thing. So I think that is so pathetic, it's not even funny. To the phones we go. Let's go to Zach in Baltimore. What's up, Zach?
Well, not much to say about this one. Got the series win, so hey, you're above 500. Aaron Nola, thought he had good stuff today. His pitches were good. He just made that one mistake to Bell. Fastball, kind of center cut. The second one, I'm not going to fault him as much for. He was deep into the game. Wasn't a terrible pitch, just a good piece of hitting by low. Made a little noise at the end. At least they didn't get shut out. But once the Nationals put their closer in, it was, obviously a big difference. So, on to the Rockies. Sanchez tomorrow, just keep stacking up series wins. That's all that matters. All right. Go Phils. Peace.
All right, Zach. Appreciate the call. Yeah, listen. You win another series if you come home and take care of business against the Rockies and you do your job. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not all crazy and whatnot, but the job right now is to just stack series wins. Now, I did say I'd be a little disappointed with 4-2 after the first 6, knowing your opponents. So if you could sweep one of these series, that would be lovely. It's hard to do, especially early in the year. You're not in the rhythm yet. Guys are in and out of the lineup. Now, I don't know how good JT is. I don't know how good Trea Turner is. But when you replace them with Marchand and Sosa, it definitely takes a hit in totality. And yeah, so that's there. I mean, I have questions on how great JT is offensively, and I don't know who Trea Turner is. I don't. But still, I mean, those are big names, and they do have an important role. So you think if this team's going to be who they are, they matter, and they need to get back in here. So it's been a weird, fluky start over the first series. It would be nice to at least be a 5-1 with the Nationals and Rockies being on your schedule before you really do hit a pretty aggressive gauntlet in the early stage of your schedule moving forward, right? With the Dodgers. I know the Braves on the road is in there. And hold on a second. I'm looking at the schedule here. Hold on. I got March Madness up. We got our number 1 seeds all advancing. The Braves are losing 2-0 at this particular time. We'll take a look at the full division, although teams are still playing as we speak. I was looking at Let's go to April. It is Dodgers, Atlanta, St. Louis, who's 3-0 right now. The Giants. Then you get the Marlins, Mets, Cubs. We're going W's and L's in the baseball season. I might have made that joke on the last one. You probably didn't even laugh then either. It's not that funny. I'm stupid. Anyway, I just am telling you that after the Rockies, there's 3 opponents, and then 4 if you include San Francisco, that you got to bring it. So if you can at least be 5-1, that's a lot better than 4-2, although it's not bad. Stacking series is the name of the game. But sometimes I want a little more flavor. Sometimes I want a little more oomph. And I don't think it's ludicrous to think that you can get a little more oomph with these 2 teams as the opponent. I won't be mad with 4-2 unless you have a chance to go 5-1 and you're up 6-0 in the 9th inning to sweep Colorado and you lose the game 7-6 in the 9th inning. And then you don't tie it up in the bottom half of the 9th when you're at home. Then we could talk about me being angry with the result. But if it just goes status quo-ish, then I could live with 4-2. But 5-1 would be nice. All right, let's take Amadeo's call, and then we'll wrap things up.
2 out of 3 by the Phils. That is, I'll take that any day of the goddamn week because 2 of their games, they looked really good. Yeah, sadly today the offense went cold. And Aaron Nola, which is going to be the primary topic among all Phillies fans for the rest of the day, he gave up 2 home runs, but getting to Aaron Nola because obviously it's the most important topic right there. I just don't understand where this narrative came from that Aaron Nola stinks. It's just completely not true. Are people just that aggravated because he gives up home runs? We've watched Aaron Nola for 10 years in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform, and majority of those 10 years have been very, very good. And some of those years resulted in him being, top 5, top 3 in Cy Young voting. He's a very good pitcher in this goddamn league. That's why he got the contract that he got, and that's why teams were trying to poach him for the Phillies.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Teams wanted Aaron Nola. Teams were looking to acquire Aaron Nola, and he was one of the sexiest free agent possibilities when he wasn't signed with the Phillies yet for that contract that he earned. So no doubt about it. And I almost look at his ERA of the career 3.70 with all of those home runs as more impressive. Because you're right, he does give up a lot of homers. To have a 3.70 ERA with all of those homers, you know how difficult that kind of is to do? That tells you about what happens when he isn't giving up those homers, or those homers may be the only way. Like, he may go 7 innings, allow 2 earned runs, and those 2 earned runs be 2 solo shots. So then people get angry about the home runs he allowed, but he went 7 and only allowed 2 earned runs. But they focus on the total amount of home run. I'd take 7-2 any day of the week. 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, with those being solo any day. Even if they're 2 solo shots, any day, all day. Like for him to allow 30-plus homers in back-to-back years and have a 3.54 ERA, that's pretty impressive. And for anybody who says whenever he gets going and then he hits a wall and he can't stop the bleeding, there may be truth to that, where sometimes the adversity mid-game, it kind of gets away from him a little bit in the RAV4 inning and all that stuff that keeps going around town. again, if that's the case, and fine, there may be truth to that, then that means when he doesn't blow up, he's fucking electric. Because his numbers after 10 years in the league tells you that. If he has situations where he blows up and he kind of hits a wall and a couple home runs happen, now he's allowing 5 earned runs after looking like he was throwing a gem, and that inflates his numbers. Well, if that's inflating his numbers to this crazy level, then how is his numbers where it is now? That means he counters those inflated numbers with insane numbers the other way to get that 3.70 career ERA, which means when he's on, it's out of this world good. That's the only way to be where he is over that long of a sample size. Come on, man. Anyway, you can be frustrated with Nola. By no means do I ever tell anybody they can't be frustrated with him. I just think you got to keep it in perspective. Before I head out of here, I love watching my Phillies games with Garage Beer. DrinkGarageBeer.com. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. It's the best beer to ever touch my lips. You know that. I know that. DrinkGarageBeer.com. Thank you guys all so much. We'll be talking very soon about this squad. Catch you on the next one. Go Phils.